He's accepted it.
Linda, Virgil, anyone around?
Oh, office, Mummy.
Hello, darling. Sorry if I'm interrupting.
No, you're not. I'll get Mrs. Crook to make us some coffee shortly.
Oh, why don't I do it? You know what Ivy Crook can be like. Grumbles at the slightest thing. Ever since her Harry died, she's got nothing to go on about. Certainly not his blessed bunion to worry about anymore.
Oh, blow that. We pay her as housekeeper. Moan or not, she can jolly well make us that coffee.
Oh, you're a hard woman, Linda Harcourt.
I'm also a very clever one.
Oh, so you should be. You've got a clever mother.
But of course. Anyhow, I've come up trumps. Not only have I found Tony Hewitt on Facebook, he's accepted my friend request.
Good Lord. You're pulling my leg.
There, look. You can see it's him. His hair's a bit greyer now, but it's him nonetheless.
Oh, you're right. That's Tony Hewitt, sure enough.
My next task is to send him a private message and attempt to meet up with him.
Oh, do you really think that's wise, darling?
I'm beginning to think you're in cahoots with Virgil. I would have thought you, of all people, would want your own son name cleared after all this time.
Well, of course I would. That goes without saying. But perhaps, even after all these years, the pain is still too much to bear at times. Can't you see that, Linda?
I didn't realise just how big this garden centre is, Mr. Harkins.
Oh, the name's Morris. Oh, yes, it's expanded over the years. We've now got a large family restaurant and a clothing section, to name it just a couple
I'm
of
very
things.
impressed. So about 3 days a week is what you can offer me, is it?
Well, I'm afraid that is all.
Oh.
And it's just going round the place, making sure the plants are okay and getting rid of the bad ones and watering the good.
Suits me fine. It'll all help with my studies too.
Foxwell College, is it?
That's right.
Yeah, it's got a very good reputation.
And rightly so. It's a good place. I'm enjoying it there very much, but I do need to earn money to keep my head above water while I study.
It isn't easy for students nowadays, that's for sure.
You're not kidding, Morris.
So, how are you getting on with dear old Bill and Betty then?
Lovely. Super people. Betty's very warm and motherly. Bill's really nice, but I get the impression he can be a bit grumpy at times.
Well, only since he's had his heart trouble. He was always a very busy man, having once been a farmer. Now he can't do a lot, his frustration often comes through his grumpiness. But he's a kind man with a heart of gold.
Sure, I'm sure. Oh, sorry. Would you mind if I take this call, Morris?
No, you go ahead. I'll be over in the lawnmower shop. Come and find me out.
Sure. Dorian, where have you been? I've been texting you, emailing. I want to know, is there any news on that watch?
Hello, Tony.
Linda, long time no see.
Certainly is. My word, you haven't altered a scrap.
You haven't noticed the wrinkles then, or the silver threads in my
Look
hair.
upon them as highlights.
Oh, ducky, people will talk.
If you weren't that way inclined yourself, I'd say you were being homophobic.
Strange, isn't it, where these weird expressions come from? There must be somebody sitting there dreaming up all these new words like homophobic and not really understanding what on earth they mean.
Good point. To be quite honest, I'm both shocked and delighted that you not only replied to my friend request but also agreed to meet me here.
Yes, well, my memories of ACREBURY aren't exactly the happiest.
No.
Had you wanted to meet me in the village itself, I might not have been quite so willing.
I thought if we agreed to meet over here near Hampton Woods, then it might not be so bad.
More bad memories. The last time I was on this spot was when I went to your father's help.
I know.
Unfortunately, he took his final breath just as Ray and I got to him.
And this is why I wanted to meet up with you here. What can you remember about that day?
Oh, it's sketchy now, Linda. From memory, we were both standing up there on the ridge, and we saw your father riding along here all by himself. I can picture him now, clutching his chest, and thought how odd it was. Why wasn't he with other huntspeople?
He was suffering a heart attack.
Then a shot rang out from that direction, and the horse threw him to the ground. Ray and I ran to him and found him bleeding, but still alive.
I see.
Look, do you really want to go on with this? I think it's bringing back a lot of pain for you too.
I must, Tony. I've got to get to the bottom of it. I know you'll think the same as everyone else, that I'm going a bit gaga or something. But you see, I'd had a dream.
Joey came to me in that dream and asked me to clear his name.
Well, I'm not going to think of you as Gaga or anything else. There are more things in heaven and earth, so we shouldn't knock things. And quite frankly, having had the relationship that I did with your brother, I think I'm qualified to say that I don't think for one moment that he would have been able to kill anybody.
Really?
Even though he loathed the Major, Joey just did not have that in him. I reckon that if he hadn't committed suicide when he was on remand, he would have been cleared in court.
Oh, Tony. I am so glad you agreed to meet up. These are the words I've wanted to hear.
I agree with you, Linda. Whoever pulled the trigger that shot your father that day was not your brother Joey. I'd lay my own life on it.
Oh, you've made a lovely job at this bedside.
Ah, yeah. I'm very pleased with it, Mrs. Barrett. Glad you are too.
I thought I'd put some Rudbeckia and Echinacea
Oh.
in here. I reckon they go so well together.
Aye.
And the yellow of the Rudbeckia absolutely sings out like a beacon. Bit like the daffodils.
Yeah, you're right. Shame the daffs go over so quickly. They're one of my favourite flowers.
I reckon you must be a very sensitive young man. Probably why you like gardening so much. Maurice Hawkins noticed how keen you were when he saw you t'other day.
He's sporting she, has he?
Oh, he popped down last night and brought us some tomato plants.
Ah, nice chap. And he's given me some casual work over about 3 days.
Yes, I know, he told us that too.
Yeah, I liked him very much. Garden centre's very big, isn't it? I hadn't realised.
Well, you met my son Brian t'other day. Where the
Aye.
garden centre stands was Brian's farm.
Oh,
And when Hollyoak Farm burnt down, Brian and his then wife Joan emigrated to Canada. Oh, back in the early 80s that was. Then the site was redeveloped as an agricultural parts factory. Now it's the garden
and
centre.
a very impressive place it is too.
Oh yes, well it have grown over the years. So, how is everything with you, my dear?
Great. At last people are taking me seriously.
You're still very young yet. Oh, do you know, I still keeps looking at my arm expecting to see my watch. Isn't it funny how you get so used to summat being there? I don't half miss it now it ain't there.
I expect you do. There you go, me beauties. You'll make a nice couple of dinners.
Caught you!
Hey! Oh, blimey, Linda Harcourt, these give I a turn.
No doubt, Mr. Partridge. You can hand me that sack, please.
Hey, t'an't mine. I just found it lying here. Just having a look and see what it is.
You know what it is, and so do I. My horse once again almost bolted when your gunshot rang out.
That one eye. 'Tis the Emblin's bird scare over at Church Farm.
It was not a bird scarer, and it did not come from that direction. It was from here. Now hand over those pheasants and think yourself lucky I don't turn you into the police.
I ain't done nothing.
You not only trespass on manor land, but you illegally poach on it too. Take this as a warning that Fergal O'Sullivan and I will not be so lenient next time if you do it again.
Oh, 'tis no good arguing with you. You'll be just like your father. Old Harcourt himself was a pompous, self-centred, stuck-up so-and-so who couldn't give a jigger for nobody else bar himself.
A man who is no longer here to defend himself, Mr. Partridge.
No wonder he got shot during that hunt. Don't think anybody was surprised about that.
Really? And may I ask you what exactly you were doing that day?
Hey?
Were you out shooting at anything by any chance? Pheasants or otherwise? So she's actually met up with Tony Hewitt then, Fergal?
She has, and she said it was a good meeting. But I don't know exactly where they met up.
Not in the village then?
I don't think he would be too keen.
Not surprising.
Anyhow, Claire, what did you think of the cottage in Foxbury? Have you had time to think about it? Have you even put in an offer?
I loved it. Was going to put in an offer on it. Then I found out it has a septic tank. It isn't on the main sewage system, so it put me off.
Is that such a big problem then?
Yes, I want the knowledge that when I flush it goes completely away and not have to be collected by the council every so often.
Good point. So the search goes on.
Yes. You may well be getting a lodger after all.
Well, that's fine.
Linda out, I presume?
Yes, and before she gets back, I thought I'd have a quiet word with you.
Oh, about her obsession with this Boxing Day 1996
Yes,
business.
except that because I know I cannot beat her, I've decided to join her.
Oh, how do you mean?
And for the first time in ages, I paid a visit to the Phoenix Club in Market
Oh
Langford.
yes, the Major used to go there when they had hunt meetings.
Lord Langford still does.
Well, he's got the most shares in the place, hasn't he?
Well, I wouldn't be surprised. I met him for a drink, and it proved to be a jolly interesting
You've
meeting.
got a glint in your eye, Fergal O'Sullivan. What are you up to?
I haven't said anything to Linders yet. I'm waiting for the right time. But something his lordship told me opened my eyes somewhat.
And?
I'm not so sure that that daughter of yours is barking up the wrong tree after all. I think she might be onto something.
Really?
I think Joey was innocent, and I now think that Linda is right in trying to get to the bottom of what really happened.